our strategy for sustainable agriculture development, when we started doing natural resources and then moved on to agriculture, which was a major issue, we identified certain issues which we needed to address with small and marginal farmers, because more than 70% of the people we work with are small and marginal farmers. And therefore, we realized that there was an increasing cost of production, there were risks also, production risk as well as price risk, huge information gaps in the market related to the pricing, and even extension was a major gap. There were yield gaps and there was price fluctuation, 5-6 major issues that we identified, and we realized that unless we address those in the first place, you could not talk about an FPO and all that, because those were critical. If extension services were not reaching, or if there was no water in a rain-fed area, you could not really stabilize the production. And therefore, we worked on, based on Vijay's famous algebra of livelihoods, we worked on this 5 components, that is cost reduction and risk mitigation, productivity enhancement, value addition and market linkages. Those were our 5 components which we worked on, and did several activities before we ventured into this this animal called FPOs. Okay. And therefore, currently we have a 3-tier farmer producer organization. We start with subgroups of Kisan clubs or producer groups which are of men and women. There are enterprise groups. Some of the SHG groups have turned into enterprise groups also. Then we have a cluster level association, which is because we work in multiple locations within Gujarat, and then we have the farmer producer company, which is at the apex level, and I am talking about Krishi Dhan, which is based primarily in Gujarat. This is about Krishi Dhan. Well, we started in 2005. We were the first ones, thanks to NDDB, that we registered a producer company called Dhari Krushak Producer Company. It ran for some time, and then it was a flop show, and then Vijay came in, and then we kind of restructured the entire producer companies, and now we have multiple locations where we work with, and therefore it was revived in 2013. So, I mean, the Krishi Dhan that we are talking about, the current version of Krishi Dhan is what we are talking about, is from 2013. So, we cover about 200 villages. There are 4,400 shareholders, and each shareholder has 2 shares, because one from which they buy from their own, and one is the SFAC that working that they have got. So, we have about 45 lakhs as our authorized share capital. The membership, we have about 27% women in the FPO and 73% men. Current turnover, I mean, the last year's turnover was about 1.82 crores, and this year Krishi Dhan expects to make about 3.2 crores. So, these are our locations, 4 districts and multiple locations having multiple commodities and very different types of farmers also. For example, Sabarkantha Meghraj is a typical tribal farming belt which has subsistence agriculture, but due to irrigation, thanks to the watershed management program that we implemented, they have also shifted to cotton and besides maize. So, that is the kind of pattern that we are talking about. And based on that, we had a collective discussion, do we really need an FPO? Because we were working on water, on participatory irrigation management and on watershed management, and we were planning to withdraw. Frankly, DSC said 10 years ho gaya, 2007 tak, we were planning to actually withdraw from these areas. And then they said, that's not fair. I mean, we have our problems in agriculture which we need to address, some of the problems that we just saw. And based on that, we said, okay, what do we want to do? And therefore, this whole idea of what they wanted to do and what were the issues. And so, the kind of things that the objectives were kindly derived from the farmer clubs that were initially formed before the formation of the formal producer company. So, we had 100 plus farmer clubs being formed before the Krishi Dhan Farmer Producer Company was actually formed, and those 100 plus farmer clubs then developed their own mission, in the sense what they wanted to do in terms of their value add and all that, because they were not getting the price that would like to have realized. And they also had a lot of social measures also, like members helping, insurance for example was one of the things they wanted, and credit, etc. So these were the kind of things that they wanted. So currently, as you see, this is a 3-tier farmer producer company and multiple locations. Currently we have 11 people who are working, 13 people working in the Krushidan Farmer Producer Company, and different locations based on the number of farmers that are there, they have derived their own directors. So Visnagar, which is our largest location, has 3 directors on that, while others have, and Mohan, who is the executive director, is the expert director in the Krushidan Farmer Producer Company. So what are the unique features? Just we have small and marginal as well as large farmers. We don't exclude them, but they form a very small portion because they have the produce. The Krushidan Producer Company serves members as well as non-members. It is not just member centric, but as Ustad's study in the second phase came out, that there were, I think, equal to or perhaps more non-members than the members themselves, and therefore we needed to work on the members alliance with the producer company. There is this whole social entrepreneurship model, which Jaswant Bhai, the CEO, plays multiple roles, both with the internal the social goals as well as the business goals of the company. It's a multi-layered organization, as we said, with a very heterogeneous kind of population. It is asset light, and it has a basket of business transactions that are derived from the uniqueness of each location. So Dhari has groundnut, while North Gujarat has spices and all that stuff. This is the kind of business we do cotton and all that sales. Seed production is another major. So there is a whole basket of activities that Krushidan does, and the last one that you saw, particularly the retail outlet and the cattle feed. Cattle feed was one of the major areas that was identified by the farmers, and therefore the maize is procured from the farmers in the tribal and non-tribal areas, and we process that. So there is a cattle feed plant itself in Modasa which is done, and the products and what to do, where to market are largely kind of driven by the members. We have a monthly meeting at the cluster level, and once every 2 months they meet, the directors also meet. So if you look at what has been the benefit, just not the turnover, but if you look at what has been the increase in productivity, the additional income which we saw. So there are several other which are not reflected directly in Krushidan's balance sheet, but there are several other benefits also, So, and those benefits unfortunately are not quantified, and therefore Krushidan is judged only on the basis of the turnover, and I believe that is true for any FPO. The kind of productivity enhancement it does, the cost reduction measures that happens because of promoting organic inputs and all that is never taken into account. But you can have evidence, and therefore Ustad and we were thinking of a different balance sheet for the FPO based on the Krushidan case study, because we realized that the benefits were actually 4 times more than the actual turnover, and therefore just to measure the impact of the FPO in terms of the turnover, it would be very unfair, So this is a kind of a name, but what did DAC do? And I think DAC played a very, very critical role in this whole process, which from 2013 to 2019 and 2 years ago. So it's about a 10-year, 9 to 10 year period that we are talking about. The first is this whole institutional building strategy that we were also learning. We were into the business of water. We didn't know this business of business and agri-business. So the staff was learning, we were learning. So it was a kind of a trial and error to some extent, and therefore we started with the need assessment, which was very critical. And fortunately we had Sukhpal doing this study for us. He did this study across all the locations and identified critical key crops that could be taken forward. So Sukhpal did this study, and from that study we took forward some of his suggestions. So as I said, we did a need assessment, formed the Kisan clubs. A lot of awareness building went on the Kisan clubs, because we inculcated this process of savings within the Kisan Club, so they could buy their inputs. They could pay the company in advance, so that because they didn't have capital. In any fledgling company does not have that kind of capital. So the Kisan Clubs and the SHGs provided the initial capital to Krishi Dhan. So we kind of graded them, formed the cluster level committees, built the capacities of the staff members and the leader farmers, but focused on membership. Then the legal form, whether to form the producer company or the cooperative. Most of them had dairies, so they are familiar with the cooperative, but we thought the producer company would give them multiple locations, more flexibility. So we decided on the company, and the board of directors was the biggest issue, because there is this whole tendency of elite capture, bigger farmers contributing more produce and wanting to come to be the directors. So we had to lay down very specific criteria on the selection of directors, who could be the director within those this thing. And therefore we wanted somebody who had concern for the small and marginal farmers, identifying business activities and developing systems, including an MIS system, which was very difficult and painful process. Then formation of subcommittees. The first one you see, grievance redressal, because the farmers who benefited directly from seed production, because the farmers were producing seeds, so they obviously got better price, and not all farmers were covered from the 4,400. So that's why there was grievance redressal and then initiate activities. So this whole process was quite, but the initial 3 to 5 years we just did on that. Then motivating farmers to pay share capital, advance payment for, as we just said, procurement of inputs, savings, and then partial support for administrative costs. So that is the role that DSC played. Technical and marketing support to producer groups, cleaning, grading, packing, all that stuff. Quality, for example, which is a major constraint, for any markets. So how do you do that? Regularity of cluster level and board meetings. And some of the challenges. You normally find that in this quadrant, those who have the skills, entrepreneurship and leadership skills, are generally selfish. They have their own interests and they have their own outlet shops already, even before the FPO is formed.
Intentions.
So to get somebody in quadrant 1 to identify is a hell of a job. If you don't have, then you have to build the capacity so they come into the quadrant 1. Generally, you will find 2, and mostly you will find 3, who are very selfless and very nice, well-meaning, but they don't have any damn skills to run a SHG, let alone an FPO. Okay, so so that was our biggest problem. How do you address this leadership issue? Because you want them to be their company, own it, govern it, and run it. Those are very, very difficult. They are nice things to say, but they are extremely difficult to practice. And the second major challenge is this balancing act. It was very painful. You had the shareholders, which were primary, and which we wanted to constantly, and therefore the cluster committees and the farmer groups, the professionals and the governing board. This tussle between the three, so that nobody could kind of supersede somebody else, that was becoming a big pain in the initial years. So initially years they transferred it all very conveniently to DSC, that it is DSC's baby. I said no. Mohan said no, you want to shut it off, we shut it off tomorrow. Unless you want to run the show, then only we go ahead, otherwise we don't. And therefore this whole thing, and it's still a struggle. I don't think that it will ever kind of this thing, it goes on, but you have to, the facilitating agency has to see that how this balance is maintained. Then obviously, as we said, farmers still tend to think that they are consumers. So any price which they get less, they want, they will go to that private trader and sell it, their produce to a higher price than to the this member alliance is good when Tushar talks about it, but in reality it never happens. So this is all nice theory, but member alliance is all very nice, but it never happens. If I were to sell a produce, if I get 10 rupees more, I will sell it there. I may be a member of the producer company and bought a 500 rupees share, so what? Theek hai na? So those things are there. Typically, they want the inputs on credit and want to sell their output on cash. So that is a dichotomy that one learns to live with, but that requires substantive working capital, as Kuldeep just said. And mobilizing working capital, and if you want to scale up, is a hell
Sachin,
of a thing. Yes, just 2 minutes.
up.
Yeah. And difficulties in balancing different and conflicting values. You want efficiency also, and you want equity also. Sometimes they are diagonally opposite. You want quick decisions also, and you want participation also. Very difficult. So that becomes a kind of a thing. And then I'll just quickly, capacity building. I'll just go to the learning. So that is just 2 slides more, Astad. So what is the learning? One is this whole role of facilitating agency that one plays. They are morely either because we talk about transformational change and all that, which is great, but that doesn't serve the business. So many NGOs still think that profit is a bad word, period. So trying even for our staff, we took almost 2 years to say that profit is not bad, and all the entrepreneurs are not corrupt, and they don't kind of harm the environment. So that kind of thing. You need a mentor and a champion within the facilitating agency. So luckily we had a very good board, and one of the board members, Arvind ji, was there to mentor it, and then Mohan, who was the CEO of DSC, he took over that role, asking difficult questions when the board meeting was there. He did not attend the board meetings as a whole, but last 10 minutes he would listen to their action plan and then force them to think ahead. So that was a very critical role that Mohan played. You need not just to invest in the business proposition that most finance agencies do, but in the institution of building its structure, its culture, its values. And I think perhaps many times these very fast pacing FPOs miss is the values part. What at the end of the day, what do you want to do, and you then lose the sense of your vision or your mission, and then you make a lot of profits, but then not serve the members. So the culture, values and systems you need to invest. The production system is just one slide more, only one slide more, is the production in rain-fed agriculture particularly. Your production system, to stabilize it, is very important, and therefore we need to work on NRM and agriculture extension. The FPO cannot do all the 3 because otherwise it will fail. So the NGO or any other expert agency has to provide that knowledge, because climate change is a reality, and therefore agriculture is very dynamic. So you will need to provide those services to them. Last slide. There is need for the initial years, you need to work on the institutional health and the strength, the health being the internal environment, and strength, the capacity to fight with the markets. Better to mobilize internal, as AP Mas CS just said, SHGs have that, and this is what precisely Krishidan did. It mobilized the initial funds from its own share and from the SHGs, and MSP is a good opportunity, provided as Kuldeep has said, many pitfalls, but if you have some revolving fund and the audits and payments are done timely, then MSP is okay, otherwise not good. And there are social and environmental objectives also which we need to consider. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.